What's up guys, DuArktik here with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we're going to talk about the biggest flops of MSF 2023. So we are going to review all the teams that were released throughout 2023, and this will not only include the new teams but also reworked teams, and see which teams were the biggest flops, and definitely you should stay away as much as possible. We'll also mention a few characters that maybe you should consider individually on their own, even if their team sucks. But overall, this is not going to be like a build investment or anything like that, but just to have an awareness of what happened throughout the year. There were definitely some teams that were major flops that for me caused so much frustration. Other teams, the exact opposite, that they were just amazing overall. So we're going to try to list all of them. And as always, if you like the information on these videos, make sure you share it to your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and make sure you smash that like button like a boss. Okay, so once again, this is not to be like what to invest in a follow-up guide or anything like that. We'll have that coming up soon. We are just waiting for the new patch, because with the new team that is coming, it probably will nullify some of the teams that we have right now. Okay, so let's start off with the teams, and Wakanda is a premier example of a team that always flops. They were made for raids, they were made for Ultimus 5 raids, but they were released on Ultimus 6, almost Ultimus 7, and they were changed for Cosmic Crucible, they were changed for Alliance Wars, and they are mid throughout that, but they are not from 2023, they are from 2022, I guess. The time goes so fast that we are already, Wakanda is already 1 year old or 2 years old. Anyway, let's move on to the first team that is actually from this year, and this team is going to be Dead Seed. Now, Dead Seed, they were made to be a raid team, and they were amazing as a raid team. They were useful on Doom 3, we had Incursion 1, and now even on Incursion 2, together with Apocalypse, they are quite great. You can play with them at the maximum difficulties. And in terms of other game modes, they were quite powerful in Alliance Wars and in Cosmic Crucible. Sometimes because they had specific bonus that were for mutants, other times just because of the combinations you can make with them and with other characters, for example Apocalypse, or even some Brotherhood characters, or even have just a 3-piece of Dead Seed with 2 other characters that are more powerful. With the flexibility that they have and that they were able to provide, they were definitely not a flop. Now, is this a team that you should build for the future? Is this level 95 and done? It probably yes. And so if you're going to call them, what are we going to call them? Are they mid? Are they good? Are they a flop? I would say that Dead Seed is definitely a good team that we had throughout this year. And hopefully we'll see more teams like this, or maybe we'll see a rework that will make them better in the future. At least I hope that, especially with Brotherhood characters, more other characters, mutant villains. That's always interesting for sure. Okay, let's move on to the next team, and the next team is Rebirth. Now, in terms of raids, they were decent. I'm not gonna say that they were amazing. They were pretty decent in Doom 3.5. They were good, but you had to play them on a very specific way in order for them to be very successful. Then on the Incursion campaigns, they were also mid. Let's be honest, they were mid. Only when Super Scroll showed up, they got a little bit better. And now on Incursion 2, so throughout 3 raids, and now with also Super Scroll, they are okay-ish at best. You can one-shot each of the nodes, the boss node with a sack, you can 2-tap it, so they're not the worst, but they are not great. Now, in other game modes, Cosmic Crucible, Alliance Wars, even Dark Dimension, some of these characters were okay. Captain America was pretty decent, but Captain Carter, she was like an extension of Captain America. It's not for what she does, it's what she allows Captain America to do. And the other characters, even with Cosmic Crucible bonuses, and Alliance War bonuses, they were always very mid. They cannot compete with other teams, and even in raids, they were not that good. So I'm not gonna call them a flop, right? I think a flop is too harsh, but Rebirth was definitely mid as hell. So Rebirth is going to the mid section. Okay, let's move on to the next team. Here we go. Who's the next one? These teams are all in order. So the Dead Seed was released in December and January. The Rebirth should have been released in February. Okay, let's move on to the next team. We have Masters of Evil. Yes, Masters of Evil. Now, Masters of Evil is a Cosmic Crucible team, and they still dominate Cosmic Crucible. Is there any team where they lose against in Cosmic Crucible? I'm not sure. Right now we have the Sinister Six, that is supposed to be the new toy, but these guys are still very powerful. Now, in terms of the individual characters, we have Absorbing Man with huge value, we have Kang with huge value. Both of these characters have been used in Arena, both of these characters have been used in Cosmic Crucible, Alliance Wars, pretty much everywhere. And some people use the Titania and Moonstone in Dark Dimension with okay experiences. Ultron is really the character that really fell flat in these other game modes, but overall he has good individual value, even on his own, like outside of the team in Cosmic Crucible. So he has to be valid for that. And now Ultron is a mythical character. That means that you might want to use him in Dark Dimension 7. So once again, we have a little bit more value over there. But Kang was definitely the starter. Like this, Kang on his own, he had huge value. He helped a lot with the Arena meta. We also used Kang in raids. We used Kang in Dark Dimension, Cosmic Crucible. We used Kang on his own in Alliance Wars. So Kang is definitely the cherry on top of this cake of huge value. So as a whole, was the Masters of Evil a flop or not? I would not call them a flop by any means. And I think overall in all game modes, Masters of Evil were pretty good. So let's put them on yes baby, because they were definitely amazing. Masters of Evil. Okay, there we go. So far so good. So far we don't have any flops. So the year 2023 is looking pretty good for MSF. Okay, let's move on to the next team, Invaders. Oh my god, here we go. So yeah, Invaders, yikes. What else can we say? Is there anything else other than yikes about the Invaders? Yeah, this team was dog shit. So there is no excuse. Like, they were made for the Doom 3.5 raids, and even on those raids, if you didn't have this very specific position of the characters, the team would flop. Like they would time out on the raids they were designed for. Their stats were all locked behind raids. Their kits was all locked behind raids. They had almost zero value in Alliance Wars, almost zero value in Cosmic Crucible, almost zero value anywhere else. The only thing of value was really the Nick Fury kit, which was pretty good, definitely decent. The updated stats with combinations that he has with the other characters like Kestrel, and his skin with Super Skrull. The skin alone justifies investing on Nick Fury, but all the other characters were a disappointment. And this was definitely a disappointment because, let's be honest, like Iron Fist and Kraken America, these characters look legit. And the kits as a whole, the kits are not terrible. It's just the characters that were way too slow outside of raids, and even in raids they were kind of too slow. And all of their abilities, all their stats are locked behind raids. And so even that the team has amazing animations, at least for Kraken America, the team flop as a whole when it comes to Marvel Strike Force. So, I mean, this has to be one of the biggest flops because even in their own raids, they barely made it. And after, on the 3.5 Doom, they failed. On the Incursion 1, they failed. And now on the Incursion 2, they're also failing. You barely can get any value out of them there. They absolutely failed in all other games. Cosmic Crucible, Alliance Wars, Dark Dimension. one or two people took Iron Fist to Dark Dimension, and it was way too slow to have value. And then on top of that, they don't have Avenger tags, they don't have these generic tags that would allow you to pair them up with other characters. So this has to be one of the biggest flops of 2023. So there we go, we're gonna put Invaders as the biggest flop, or not the biggest, we'll see who's gonna be the biggest, but definitely one of the biggest. So Invaders, okay, there you go. I'm gonna put like, I have to put Nick Fury here on his own, because let's be honest, Nick Fury is still great. Okay, let's move on to the next team. First big flop, Invaders, yikes. I think you guys were expecting this to come. Okay, so we have Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. So these guys are, I mean, what else can we say? Quicksilver is amazing. He's amazing in all game modes. You could use him in raids, even that is not optimal. You could see him in Dark Dimension, even that is not optimal. He absolutely shines in any kind of PvP game mode. Cosmic Crucible, Alliance Wars, Arena. You could also use him in Tower with huge value as well. So overall, like, Quicksilver is a massive win. Now, Scarlet Witch, can we say the same about her sister? Of course not. But there are a few situations where she can really come through when you are using characters like Apocalypse or Undying, characters that apply tons of negative effects to the enemies, and then you need those negative effects to be extended. She can work quite great, because she has a retaliation effect with Quicksilver, because she also got some reworked stats and mechanics to her kit when she's together with Quicksilver. I would not say that she's a flop by any means, and but she's of course not at the same level of Quicksilver. So we have to put Quicksilver as amazing, but Scarlet Witch is definitely mid, right? I think it has to be the case. So let's put it like this. Okay, let's move on, and yeah, we have to put some how do you call it? We have to put some individual characters with apart from their teams, because it's kind of unfair. Okay, now we have new Avengers, new Avengers, new Warriors. No, these are the new Warriors. New Warriors we already had in the past, Cloak Dagger and Deadpool. They were pretty great overall. Then we had Firestar and Gwenpool as the new characters. And let's be honest, this team was always amazing. They were reworked from raids to Cosmic Crucible, which is great, but they kept their value in raids. Even that people were not using them in raids, you could definitely use Deadpool with Bifrost, or even with on their own team, and they would work great. And outside of raids, they could be used in Dark Dimension, Cosmic Crucible, Alliance Wars. They were designed to be valuable in Cosmic Crucible, but we have to talk about Gwenpool and Firestar. So Firestar is probably one of the best characters of this team, and people have not seen yet the full potential of Firestar. She can be used together with other teams to huge success, and we'll have probably a video this week showcasing that. And then we have Gwenpool. I think Gwenpool, she's okay, but she's not able to do what she was made to do. So with her ultimate, she kills characters and they cannot be revived, but because she has normal damage, she cannot actually do that, because her damage is just not impactful enough. Her cooldowns are just so long, it's just painful, and maybe not for everyone, but Gwenpool, she's actually quite popular as a gag character, and she's also a waifu, so I mean, people are gonna see value in her for sure, but I would say that she was a flop, and the reason why, it's because after she uses her two abilities, all she does is basic, and that's just so boring, so annoying, and yeah. And because of that, I mean, the team as a whole, it's pretty great, but I would say it's just more in Cosmic Crucible. I think I'm gonna be biased a little bit because of the value they have in Dark Dimension and so on, but it's also mostly in Cosmic Crucible. Anyway, so let's see, how are we going to vote on the new Avengers? Are they mid? they are definitely mid when it comes down to Alliance Wars, but I would say that it's still quite amazing for Cosmic Crucible and also for Dark Dimension. Once again, they were also useful in raids, so I'm gonna put them in yes, baby. New Warriors, yes, but we have to put Gwenpool as definitely a flop. She has a lot of potential, she has some very cool animations, it's just her cooldowns that are so massive that she has no value anywhere. Like, which other game mode could use Gwenpool to any kind of success? I don't think we can do that, so yeah, there we go. It's definitely a team that I wish I could get more fun of, but unfortunately they are just limited to a few game modes. Okay, let's move on. Oof, oh my god. Oh, the team that this team has been okay, here we go. Let's talk about the Nowhere team. The Nowhere team was the first of the new trials. So last year we had the Scourges, this year we had the trials, and Nowhere was the first team for that. And then on the second trial we had to use Nowhere. And Nowhere is the biggest flop. I'm not sure if they are a bigger flop than Invaders. Maybe not. Maybe they are not as big of a flop as the Invaders, but they are not far behind. So the problem with the Nowhere, they are way too slow. Super slow. Nova goes quite fast, but all the other characters are dreadfully slow. There is no other way of describing it. They are just so slow. The Korg does not spawn with Daunt, and that's fine. That matches who he is as a character. But the problem is that the other characters, they have so low health, and they can get one-shotted so easily that whenever he gets Daunt, everyone else is already dead. And Cosmo, the dog, is just so bad. He's a support character that has no stats. His healing is very low, his barrier is very low as well. The negative effects that he does are great if he would stay alive. He doesn't stay alive, he dies right away. So he is not mid. Like, Cosmo is a flop, Korg is a flop because he does not have legs to stand on its own, and so he revives all the time, but the problem is that he's dead all the time as well. So that, and he's too slow to have any turns. So even if you can revive him, he's dependent on other characters to revive, and he's just too slow after to take action. So even if you can revive him, he's just not gonna have any turns anyway. Thor, it seemed like promising because he gets speed bar on his passive and so on, but once again, because the entire team dies so fast, his passive does not activate often enough. And he has one problem, that is when the team is attacked, he gets 5% speed bar. If you get 5% speed bar for each target of the team that is attacked, then Thor would have a huge value. It's not the case. His passive only activates one time, and because of that, he's also way too slow, way too trashy. Even that he has great stats, even that he has decent kit, is just not good enough. And then we have Star-Lord Annihilation. This character is absolute dog shit. He is only useful in Alliance Wars, and that's it. In other game modes, he is way too slow. He has no abilities. The applying vulnerability with the basics is absolute nonsense. No one cares about that. And overall, his stats are very low for a new team. This is supposed to be one of the legendary teams, and it's absolute nonsense. Now, on the other hand, Nova is very good. So Nova has a new battlefield effect that clears negative effects, gives additional damage to characters with deflects, heals up characters, allows characters to come back to life if they drop below 50% health. So Nova on his own is quite great. He has a stun that is available on turn 1. He's not the fastest character ever, but he's fast enough at 127 speed, and his ultimate can one-shot people if he has offense up and if he has like damage maxed out. So overall, like, Nova is pretty decent, but everyone else on the team is absolute garbage. So when we are going to rate these characters, we have to do it like that. So the Nowhere team is definitely a flop, but Nova is definitely great. Huge value individually, and this is something that we have to appreciate for sure. Let's move on to the next team. Man, we are halfway through. So in total we had 17 teams. We are halfway through and we already had 2 massive flops. Oof, this is not looking good. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at the next team. Oh my god, another one. Infestation, yikes. Okay, so Infestation, this is, I guess, another flop. As soon as this team was released, we had major problems because Spider-Man Big Time, no one, literally no one has a 7 yellow stars Spider-Man Big Time. This character was not available to purchase. You could not get additional yellow stars for him only with the Cosmic Crucible payouts or raid payouts. It's even worse. Raid payouts that only happen every 2 weeks. He was a dark promotion credit and he's definitely a great character on his own. He absolutely changed the arena meta, he absolutely changed the Cosmic Crucible meta, Alliance Wars meta if you are using him on offense for any reason. He also was pretty decent when it came to the tech raids and also to Dark Dimension. So overall, like, Spider-Man Big Time was pretty decent. I would say even good. But he is almost mid. He's almost mid because he loses so much value outside of Alliance Wars. When it comes to the rest of the team, like the Pimtech characters, Ant-Man and Yellow Jacket, they are still trash. Pimtech was always trash, like 3 years ago or 4 years ago when they were released. They were absolutely terrible, really, really terrible, to don't say other words. And they still are. The starts are very, very low. The damage multipliers are not good. They use normal damage rather than piercing damage, even that they have all kinds of lasers and so on. Is just not good. And the Yellow Jacket, for me, the character looks so good, the kit looks so interesting, the ultimate and the special looks so interesting. It's so sad that they were never useful for anything. It's really, really sad for me that Yellow Jacket was such a massive flop. Now, in terms of Swarm right now, he actually has some good value together with Sinister Six. And Black Widow, she also has some value together with Avenger characters or Shield characters. Like Black Widow, based on her tags, she will always have value. But I don't know, is this a good team? Is this a mid team? The fact they were countered right away early on, it's terrible. But we have to be honest, we have 3 characters here that have a lot of value. Swarm, Black Widow, and Big Time. Swarm will see more gameplay of him in the near future, maybe even in Cosmic Crucible, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel for that. But it's definitely something that that I think it will surprise some people very soon. Okay, so let's rate this team. Big Time, I think we have to put Big Time on the good characters because he was so revolutionary when it comes to the game modes, the different game modes where we're using him, like Arena, Cosmic Crucible, Alliance Wars, and so on. But the rest of the team, I mean, they are still pretty decent. Are they as bad as Nowhere? I want to say that for Yellow Jacket and for Ant-Man, but Black Widow on her own, together with Swarm, we're gonna put them on mid. Infestation, I'm gonna put them on mid because, like I said, I think these characters are gonna shine a little bit more in the future. And even Yellow Jacket, maybe I will show you some combo that you can do with him that is also very impressive, but we'll talk about that in the future, hopefully. Okay, let's move on to the next team. Man, I can't believe Infestation is better than Nowhere. Oh my god, unbelievable. Okay, let's move on. We have Bifrost. Okay, Bifrost, I don't think anyone has any problem saying that Bifrost is great. Loki definitely needed a rework. With his updated stats, he's great. He has combinations with any kind of Mystic controllers, whether it is Morgan Fay or Hela. The Sylvie, she's also a Mystic controller. She also has some interesting mechanics with a stun turn 1. She also applies massive negative effects to the enemies with her ultimate, with her special. Better reveal, amazing character. He revolutionized the Hero Asgardians. Val, the same thing. Definitely revolutionized the Hero Asgardians. And Teen Loki is a little bit of a flop, but there are a few situations where it can be useful. So we don't have to waste too much time with this team. I think they were pretty decent. And they really shined in Cosmic Crucible last season. but I think at some point in time they will trickle down in the meta once again with a few diverse theory crafting. Okay, so Bifrost definitely goes to the yes baby category. And it's just a team that is fun to play with, and we are still using them in raids, right? So it's definitely not a flop. Okay, let's move on to the next team, which is going to be A-Force with Photon. Okay, so A-Force, they were definitely a flop when they were released. They had to be together with Doctor Doom or Silver Surfer or Apocalypse or Dormammu. They had to be with a massive character for them to do anything useful. But with Photon right now, they just got so damn good. It's not like Photon on her own, she's decent, but the bonuses that she gives to A-Force are just so good that made really A-Force a very, very good team. Now, most of the value they have is in Alliance Wars. Yes, unfortunately, they have still not broken off the meta of Cosmic Crucible or any kind of other game mode, but the potential is there. It might be the case that they are just too small to be useful in other game modes. You can see my other teams, they have like 1.5, 1.6, 2 million power, and this one only has 1 million. But it might just be the limiting factor of the Alliance War bonuses. Also, Photon, she's much better with Secret Defenders than she's good here, or she allows the A-Force to be very good, but it's pretty much only in Alliance Wars, and in Alliance Wars they are very, very good. Are they a priority right away for you to invest in? Probably not, and because of that, you're gonna put them on mid, even that is like a mid plus, because at some point in time they can get a lot better. At least I hope they get a lot better. Okay, let's move on to the next team, A-Force mid. I think that's fair. Like, you guys let me know in the comments below. Is that fair? We'll see. Okay, let's move on to the next team. We have Secret Defenders. This is a very good team. Like, is there anything else that we can say about this team? They are amazing in Arena. They were amazing in Dark Dimension. They were somewhat useful in raids, at least some of the characters. Then Alliance Wars, they are amazing. Cosmic Crucible, they are amazing. In terms of Dark Dimension, in different sections, Black Cat was amazing in Legendary. Hardlight and Robbie Reyes were great in City, if not amazing. The Strange and Photon, they were also very good on the Cosmic nodes. So this team was definitely a big W. They are super fun to use together or separated. They have some flexibility to their kits, and because of that, there is no way they're gonna be a flop, right? They have to be definitely very good teams. So there we go. Secret Defenders, definitely a W when it comes to the teams that were released in 2023. Okay, we are almost done. We have 5 teams left, or 5 or 6 teams left. Here we go. Can you imagine we went through so many teams already? We had 17 teams in 2023. It's kind of crazy. Okay, let's move on to the next team, which is going to be... Oof, this is going to be a tough one. New Avengers. So the New Avengers team, they were not good on release. They were not good on release. After 5 reworks, 6 reworks, 10 reworks, I don't know how many reworks this team had, a lot of them, the team finally became decent. Let's say decent. There are a few characters here that have some interesting mechanics, like Agent Coulson, like Ronin, like Tigre. They definitely have some interesting mechanics. But then other characters like Mockingbird and The Thing have their value locked behind Alliance Wars only. Outside of Alliance Wars, they were losing in Blitz against the Bionic Avengers on 8.3, which is like mind-boggling. And sometimes it still happens that they lose in Blitz against the mid teams. So I don't know what's still up with this team. I think their stats are just way too slow. The stats are way too low, and they rely too much on their speed mechanics, which when they are being controlled by the AI, they are not that good. And when they are being controlled by you, you need a very specific ISO 8 setup in order for you to benefit. And yes, there are a few teams you can definitely dominate with this one, but the amount of teams that you have to do that are not that many. So unfortunately, I have to say that this team is definitely, it's not a flop, but let's be honest, they had like 5 reworks, so we're gonna call them mid, right? I think mid is fine. So new Avengers is definitely a mid team. Okay, let's move on to the next team. Almost done here. Here we go. We have the Black Order. The Black Order, I have to say, like, flop, right? Right away, flop. Big flop. And this is because of the envoys. The developers wanted to give Thanos the ability of giving energy even when he was empowered. And the envoy said, oh, no, he's gonna become too powerful. He's gonna make Super Skrull impossible to kill. Like, bro, shut the fuck up. Now this team is so bad that it's definitely not worth the investment. If you have them massive, if you have them at 2 million power, they are mid at best. They are mid at best. I apologize to VNM. I know you love Black Order, but we have to be honest. Like this team is definitely a flop at low level, and even at 2 million power, they are mid at best. Their cooldowns are too long, and this is why the developers were smart. Let's give them more energy. And then the voice say, no, too powerful. Like, bro, shut the fuck up. Terrible, really terrible advice that the envoys gave to the developers. And because of that, this team has to be one of the biggest flops of 2023. And this team is a lot of fun. Like, if you can play with these characters, if you get to use their abilities, they are actually quite fun to use. But their starts are mid at best. The team synergies, the mechanics are just way too not worth it. I don't know. But I guess the best about them is that maybe in the future we'll get Super Giant and Black Swan, and maybe this team will get some value finally. But right now, I have to say that Black Order is a flop. Like, no way I can make this team. Like I said, maybe at 2 million power they are mid, but no way. So Black Order is definitely a flop for Marvel Strike Force in 2023. Okay, let's move on to the next team. Let's see who we have. We're almost done. We have like 4 teams later, or 4 teams left. Okay, here we go. Pegasus. Yes. Pegasus is great. Now, Pegasus were kind of garbage as well when they came out, but community feedback, and I have to give props to myself because I made so much drama about how bad this team was, and I made so many videos that got tons and tons of views with this team, and because of that, the developer, or because of the feedback from multiple people, the developers changed this team in making the team more viable in other game modes. And right now, this is an amazing team. We have characters here that have huge value in different game modes, specifically Tony Stark, Iron Man, Infinity War, or something. It can be used in Cosmic Crucible, Dark Dimension. It can be used in Alliance Wars. It can be used in Raids, which is the place it was designed for. They are great in Blitz. They are great in Avengers Tower. They are pretty much great everywhere except Arena. But it's not like you cannot use them in Arena if you're at low level, because it's such a consistent team. Is like a very solid team. They work so well together. And yes, we have characters like DuArktik that are not that great, but at least he provides mechanics that are useful to the team, like generating energy whenever you use their basic. Rescue was massive rework, one of the best reworks that we had. She's so powerful right now in terms of support abilities. And of course, Kestrel is amazing. And you cannot forget that if you put Kestrel together with Nick Fury, she's going to get more HP, making her even more beefy. And the other characters, Ironheart is also pretty decent. And overall, like, this team was a massive W. And I'm glad that the developers listened to us and made the team more flexible for other game modes. So Pegasus is definitely one of the biggest wins of 2023. Let's move on. We have the next team, and this is going to be the Undying Team. So the Undying Team is a three-piece team that revolves around applying bleeds to the enemies, applying mind control to the enemies, and this year we got Zombie Juggernaut. Now, I was always a big fan of Hela and her ability of spreading negative effects. She also summons a Greg that can be used as a decoy. Zombie Iron Man, he had some powerful mechanics on his kit, not only with the bleeds and mind controls, but also the ability block on the special, the removing charges with the ultimate, and they trickle down from Alliance Wars also into the Cosmic Crucible meta, also to the Avengers Tower meta. Hela, while she's expensive, she could also be used in Dark Dimension. Then you could also use them in the Avengers Tower and get huge value for them. And the Zombie Juggernaut just took all of that together and made them even better. So he has massive abilities, he gets charges, and with those charges he can revive, he can get more speed bar, up to like 55% speed bar whenever he's attacked. He gets 150% more damage, base damage, and makes him like super deadly. And on top of that, they are also pretty cheap to get up, except Hela, right? And they are bio, so you don't have like incompatibility of getting up her and also getting up them. So overall, like just in terms of fun and flexibility, this team is a huge W. And I hope to see more zombies in the future, but I kind of like the fact that the team is limited because it allows for theory crafting with other characters. So at least for now, the Undying Team is a huge W. I'm very happy with the rework, and especially Zombie Juggernaut is so good that you can even use him in Dark Dimension if you have the right team. Okay, we have 2 teams left. Here we go. Is this just one team? Okay, this is just one team. Let's be honest, this is just the Sinister Six, and oh boy, Sinister Six, they are amazing. Very, very good. We have like 10 characters, and let's talk about also Swarm, Rhino, Lady Electro, the Sinister Six that didn't got a rework, or at least not as massive as the other ones. All of these characters are very, very good. Vulture on his own, he makes the Sinister Six characters amazing because of the drain, because the fact that he can apply slow to the enemies and control the speed bar, it's amazing. Craven, very powerful as well. This guy, the Spider Slayer, is okay, but in the right place, he's gonna provide a lot of benefits. With the legendary characters, Dr. Octopus, he got a minor rework, now he flips negative effects into positive effects, which is great. Green Goblin is just an amazing character, amazing kit. Passive is amazing, the ultimate and the special are amazing. And then Shocker, we have Shocker and Mysterio that they are just unbelievable. Like, some people are saying that they are not going to get up Shocker. Huge mistake. Like, Shocker on his own, if you have 2 Superior 6 characters, is going to turn rewind the enemies by 60%. In a game based on speed bar mechanics, based on having turns, turn rewinding your enemies by 60% is massive. So all of these characters are just amazing. Mysterio is able to apply blind to everyone on the field if you also have 2 Superior 6 characters. He's also able to apply ability block, disrupt. His minions now are very powerful in terms of stats. The minions also have 50% chance of giving energy to Mysterio, which will allow him to use his abilities more often. Like, all of these characters, all of the Sinister Six are amazing, really, really amazing. And the characters that we didn't talk about, like Rhino and Swarm, if you put them on any of these teams, in the Sinister Six 1 or Sinister Six 2, you are still going to get a lot of value out of them. Right now I'm using Swarm together with Dr. Octopus, and he's having huge value against certain teams. Make sure you pay attention to the channel, we have more videos on that soon. But damn, this team really had amazing rework, and I'm just so happy with what the developers did with these characters. So let's take a look at how we are going to place them. We're gonna place them here on, of course, Sinister Six was one of the best teams of 2023, and that's the year in review, right? I think we covered all the teams. Once again, 17 teams and some individual characters. So the biggest flops we had were the Invaders, Nowhere, and Black Order, which definitely sucks. Nowhere being a legendary team and Blackwater being a older team that got a rework. It really sucks how unvalued they are, unless they are like 2 million plus power, and even so they are not that great. Then we had mid teams like Rebirth, Infestation, A-Force, and new Avengers, which some of these teams have potential, like A-Force and new Avengers, but we just cannot use them often enough for them to be fun to use or interesting enough to use as well. And then we have the amount of good teams that we got this year, which were pretty great. Dead Seed was great, Masters of Evil great, Quicksilver, New Warriors, Nova, Big Time, Bifrost, Secret Defenders, Pegasus, Undying, Sinister Six. You can see, literally for the last 5 teams we got, they were very, very good. And hopefully this is a good sign. This is a sign that the developers are listening. And listening is important in this type of media where you have fans, right? You should also always listen to the customer, because most of the times the fans are asking you for what they want to pay for, right? If they're gonna pay for what they want, or if they're telling you what they want to pay for, you should listen to them, because it's a business and that's how it should be. Okay guys, that's gonna be the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the biggest flops of 2023 and the biggest W's. And once again, big shout out to the developers that listened to our feedback and made the teams in a way that were way more enjoyable for us to use. And hopefully that's going to be the path going forward. And hopefully also they will change some of the teams that flop this year. So that's going to be the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you did, make sure to smash that like button. And if you found the video helpful, make sure to share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Mouse Strike Force content. And I'll catch you guys later.